Hey guys, this is Matt Manrex from C4D Plugin.com with a tutorial about Real Traffic, the traffic simulator plugin for Cinema 4D. This tutorial is divided into 3 parts, starting with the road network. The second part deals with vehicles, and the last part I'll put all together. We will add some traffic lights and traffic volumes and other controls. So, starting as always in the plugins menu, you find here traffic simulation. This will create a simulation object with some basic and general settings. I'll come to it later. Under this object you'll find 3 manager objects, and these objects correspond to the parts of this tutorial. And so let's start with the network object. As I said, the network object manages all the roads and all the drive lines. So we have here this central function, create lane segment. This will create a sample road segment consisting of 2 node objects and a line. And when you look at the objects, you will see there is a spline object and 2 node objects. So you can edit the curve without switching to the point mode, just by selecting the nodes and moving and adjusting the Bezier handles. So this is a way to create your roads. You can select a node, and then you see that here is also this create line segment function, so you can add further segments just by clicking and adjusting. The other way would be using the Cinema 4D tools, just drawing a spline object and smooth points. And when you move it under the network object and attach a lane tag, you'll see that the network object takes the control over the spline and creates all these node objects. And you can now, of course, in the object mode, edit the curve like the other one. Yes, so these are the main possibilities to create your roads. Okay, so let's start making a crossroad. We begin with a lane segment and make it a bit larger. So let's move it a bit to the side. Make another one. So this should be the opposite direction, so we have to change the direction. In the lane tag we also have some network functions where we can reverse the direction. So as you can see, these lines are in the opposite directions. So the horizontal lines. So we cannot rotate the node objects because that would lead to conflicts with the tangents here. So you can try, but you cannot. So the direction is always controlled by these handles here. Okay. And a further segment. For the opposite direction. Okay, so this is a basic crossroad. So this would be enough to let cars drive without crashing. They detect the intersections and take care on other cars. But they can only drive straight on, so that's not what we want. So let's add some segments so that cars can turn. Therefore we have to insert further nodes. And if you select on a lane spline, you find some functions for editing the network. You also find these functions or other network functions in the node object and of course in the network object. So we need another node. To make a branch to this line. So we have to insert a node here also. And now we can select the network object to get this function here and lock it. And select the nodes. And here we have. This is not a good line. You always have to take care on the curves because cars will always drive exactly on the lines. So if you make an unrealistic sharp turn, cars will also drive unrealistic. Okay, we can fine-tune it later on when we have some cars driving around. So again here, insert a node. Oh, we have to unlock. Insert a node. Okay. So now we need here a node, and this is on section 2. Okay. Another way to make this connection is to select one node, the first one, and create a line segment. This node is free now, and you can simply put it near to the target node and select weld nodes. And as you can see, it also takes the tangent the target node. Okay, yes, I think it's a simpler method. So let's make a standard intersection with separate left turner lanes. So I make a bit space here. For adding separate lanes. At section 1 we need here a node, here also, and here too, and here. Okay, then let's start here, make a new lane segment to here. Same here. And here. And here. Okay, so here we have left turner lanes, and this from here a curve to here. And from here to here. So let me show you some of the other network editing functions. In the network object we have the create line segment. I have already described it. And we have a delete node function. This function deletes nodes, and you should use this function and not delete nodes manually, because if you delete a node manually, immediately a new one is created, because nodes correspond to spline points. Okay, in the node object we have also this create line segment. I've described it already. And then here we have a split lane and a split node function. So you need to split a lane if you want to make different parameters for different sections. So now, for example, we have here a lane, and all these parameters are valid for the whole lane. If you want to make a different setting here, maybe you want a lower target velocity for this section on the intersection, on the crossroad, you have to split the lane here at that node and also at that node. And now you have 3 lanes, 1, 2, and this here in the middle. And now you can make another speed, or to show you that it's really a new section, I can disable buses, and now you see it's another color. Although it's split, it's still connected, so you have no missing functionality when you split a lane. So the other function is splitting a node. This is useful if you want to cut a lane here, for example. Split node, so you get a new node and you can really cut the lane. In the lane we have disconnect lane. This function is similar to the split node function. So if you select, for example, this lane here at the branch, you can select the position for the disconnection. So you can disconnect it here at the start or here at the end, and if you select start and disconnect, you have a new node and you have disconnected this lane from that node. So let's take a look at some of the parameters. So the lane tag has some parameters here. You can define the priority, so it's important for crossroads without traffic lights. You can define which cars have the right of way. The target velocity is the speed that the car will achieve on the lanes, and here you can enable or disable certain lanes for some types of cars. Lane changes. The simulation allows cars to change the lane without a connection here. So maybe disconnect this lane. So let's say we have here two lanes that are not connected. So cars that are coming from here and want to turn left, they can change the line. If you don't want that, you can uncheck these options for outgoing or incoming line changes. The cars can automatically switch on the turn signal, but they need to know when and where. So usually you set this for the curves. As you see this arrow. So the cars coming from here will already turn on the signal when they are here. So we also have some parameters for the nodes. You can define a node as a stop sign, for example. So this is a simple traffic regulation that you can set. So cars will stop here at the stop sign and let cars here pass. Okay, that's a network. Thank you for watching this video. In the next part we'll add some vehicles.